Today we're going to talk about machine stitch length, whether you're using cotton fabrics or you're introducing a wadding or an interfacing. When you are machine piecing or when you're quilting, your stitch length is really important. Now you can see it's highlighted here. So on this particular machine, when you switch the machine on, it automatically takes that stitch to 2.5 mil. Now when I'm actually piecing quilting weight fabric, I like to reduce my length down to 2 mil. So I'm going to pop 2 pieces of fabric together, and you can pin obviously if you need to. There's no volume here, it's literally 2 cotton fabrics. If you're using a heavier weight fabric, then you could leave that at the 2.5 mil. So once I've placed it into the machine, I'm now just going to sew. And I just find that the 2 mil for patchwork piecing gives a really lovely finish, and it's also very secure. So can you see, there is your 2 mil. Now when you add some volume, so it may be a wadding, this is the Vlieseline 279 cotton wadding, in between 2 layers of fabric. So you can see straight away you've got a considerable thickness to deal with there. And whilst the Vlieseline 249 is a much lighter weight wadding, when it's sandwiched between your 2 layers of fabric, you can see it's still considerably thicker than the sample that we sewed before. And so therefore, to take into account the thickness, we need to adjust the length again. So this particular machine, when we set the machine away, defaults to a 2.5 mil. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase the length this time up to 3. Now the other piece of advice is that if you have one, you use a walking foot or a dual feed foot. And what this does is it evenly feeds the bottom fabrics as well as the top fabrics through the machine, and you'll get a nicer finish. Now what I want to show you is the difference between the different stitch lengths. This is the line that I've just sewn, and that stitch length is 3. This line I've sewn previously, and that is at the default setting on this machine and 2.5. Can you see that this is a far more pleasing stitch than this one, and it's lying lovely and flat. And on the reverse, you have exactly the same. It's much neater. When you're hand quilting, you still need to adjust your stitch length depending on the volume that you're sewing through. So I've got the Vlieseline 249, which is slightly thinner wadding, and then we have the Vlieseline 279, which is the 80/20 cotton wadding. Now, when you're hand quilting, what I do is I have a knot in the end of my thread, and I'm travelling through the top layer of the fabric and the wadding and bringing it up to the starting position. And then I can pop that knot through and it's buried in between. Then we can do a little back stitch, and then we can start quilting. Now you can use a thicker thread, and then if you use a thicker thread, you may want to use a slightly larger stitch. So you can see I've done quite large stitch there, or we could go really teeny tiny. We're rocking it back. It's what pleases you. And that's a much smaller one. There. So you can adjust the stitch length accordingly. So that's a slightly larger one, and that's a smaller one. As you can see, Vlieseline has a wide range of products, each with different properties and benefits for your projects. You can view the whole range on the Vlieseline website, where you can download the brochure which has detailed information on all of the products across our 4 categories. You can also join the conversation with us on our Facebook page, Creative Community Group and Instagram. All of the details are below.